Boom, 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 boom. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, gotta find, gotta find my way to you. There we go. How's it going, everybody? Happy Sunday. You know, as always, we are gathered here today on the most savage of Sundays to celebrate and honor horror, darkness, and the unknown. Carpenter, hear our prayer. Today, guys, for the fifth entry of the Sunday Savagery, we are talking about modernization. Now, what the hell is even modernization? I figure, in the context of horror films and stuff, it's watching newer releases, newer films, stuff that's coming out now and is fresh and hot, if that makes sense. And if you guys know my taste in films, particularly in the horror films, I tend to stick with some of the older films, the films that we refer to as classics. And it's it's kind of funny because you watch so many of those older ones, you get to a point where the newest films you are aware of is something like, let's see, for instance, like Scream. Like, I remember when that was still a pretty fresh film. The Scream trilogy was still a hot thing going on. And, you know, in a lot of ways, I still see that as being modern films. Of course, we have the newer set of Scream films that kind of play into both sides of that little uh, situation there. But modern films, you know, I had quite a hard time getting around to, like, just looking at things from like the early 2000s and the mid to late 90s. Like, I still see those as newer films. So you take like your Bloody Murders, which was just, oh fuck, god awful. Wrong Turn, Final Destination. Like, I see all that stuff as being relatively new. And then I look at the damn calendar and I realize, oh, what do you mean that movie's been out for 30 years, 20 years? What do you mean they're in the discussion of classics now? Where the hell did the time go? You know? So I've been trying to sort of rectify that with getting films that are actually modern, you know. Like, not the Saw, these are already classics. Uh Scream, undisputed classic, honestly. Uh Final Destination once again. Like, 8mm. I remember when this thing wasn't even all that old. Thing's been out for like 25 years now. But those are, like, you know, films of an era that are now in the discussion of classics. And it's horrifying, but, you know, trying to get with the times. Oh, you are a heavy load. Let's get it. Trying to get in with films that are actually newer, fresher. Things that are not hip. I don't think they're referred to as hip anymore. We've got things here that are, I'd say A24 and Blumhouse are like good examples of these films that are in the discussion for newer now. And it's something of a little bit of an arm twisting that I've had to provide myself, where it's like, yeah, there's still good films coming out. We hear that sort of discussion all the time. It's like, oh, they don't make them like they used to. And in a lot of ways, yes, that is very true. Like, you can't deny that to some degree. But that's just the thing. Why make them the way that they were when we can sort of bring about something new? Miss Carter says modern ain't really my thing when it comes to movies. 70s and 80s for me. Dabble with new stuff, but usually I don't like it and complain a lot. Yeah, no, see, that's kind of my thing too. Like, for instance, there is one that I just watched recently. Where the fuck did it go? I planned to go see it in the theaters, but I missed it. Thanksgiving. This one, well, the long story is that a lot of us have been waiting like over 15 years for this movie. That aside, I was this was like my big anticipation film last year, probably next to Saw X. But watching this one, I'm like, okay, I kind of like this. They're using these older sort of style shots. They're like one of the first shots of the movie straight up reminded me of the opening shot of Halloween. There's the Halloween counter, guys. Hit one. Uh, but yeah, this one, it had these just unlikable young characters that we meet really early on, and immediately that's what I'm complaining about for like the first 5, 10, 20 minutes of the film is like, oh, these unlikable twat waffles. Like, why do these characters have to exist? Why do they have to be in this film? Why are they? And that's something that I find myself kind of complaining about with a lot of them. But you look at it under a certain lens, though, you realize that unlikable characters, as much as you don't like them, that really just comes down to good writing and pretty good performances. Sometimes, not always. But you get those characters that you don't like, and it's like, why is this guy so unlikable? Why is this cat so dreadful? What is it about them that makes me loathe this character? And it just comes down to pretty solid performance, I think, and again, just the way that their characters are written. But yeah, no, a lot of the modern films though, they take I noticed a lot of them have like these older stories, and they're looking back at these sort of films that we see as classics, like the Friday the 13th and the Halloweens, and shit, even the Screams at this point. And they take elements of those and incorporate it into what they're doing now. Yeah, I do that. I do that anyway, though, Shannabelle. You know I do that. Like I recast films all the time. But yeah, no, I forget where I was going with that though. About the like they'll take these interesting story directions, and I don't know, interesting. Most films are kind of have that going on anyway. But oh, anyway, something about the storytelling. Yeah, you're taking these older approaches and you're injecting them into your newer films. I think that is definitely a great sort of thing to do there, because it shows that in a lot of ways you're paying respects to the greats that came before. You're also sort of using that to help find your way to become your own creative sort of personality. And that's kind of what any up and coming filmmaker wants to do. And on that note of different filmmakers and whatnot, who would y'all put in the discussion for new filmmakers, like modern filmmakers, like your Mike Flanagan's, Ari Aster's, Robert Eggers? I honestly would put David Gordon Green in the conversation of good modern horror directors. I really liked what he did with the Halloween films. I liked what he did with the Exorcist Believer. I know that's two pretty heavy unpopular opinions there, but I think Green deserves to be in that discussion. That might be something I'd have to do. Maybe reach out to Snyder and pull him on for one of these where we go over modern directors and how they stack up against the counterparts of days past. But I figure what I should do. This is kind of something I was actually trying to do, but damn it, kind of all over the place on this one. Uh, let's see. If I'm fair, characters aren't always great either, but usually have one or two redeeming characters. Yeah, yeah, and sometimes I'll have like a little, like if it's not just something in the way they're written, it might be something that the actor brings to the role that just makes the character stand out a little bit different. They'll definitely do something like it. It's always a crapshoot really when it comes to all that. But some modern films that are within the last, let's see, look at that stack there. yeah, these are all within about the last 10 years or so. Um, just things that I'm trying to dive into to sort of get this fresher perspective. And of course, you're going to see some in here that, or there's going to be some that are missing, is what I mean to say. You'll notice there's some missing, but they're still accounted for. Like, you got Terrifier, I didn't put that in the stack here. But again, Thanksgiving, this was a nice one that felt like a sort of mid 80s, like it had like a weird 80s meets 90s kind of slasher vibe. I can't recommend this one enough. We go into, of course, Believer. Do you believe in Believer? I believe in Believer. That's a great one. Definitely check it out. Uh, but these films, some of them are continuations of very famous IPs, i.e., The Exorcist Believer there. But then you got the more original stuff, like you got Talk to Me. Still got a video essay for this one in the works that I really want to dive into because this one was pretty freaking disturbing. But Talk to Me, that was one that people were hyping up last year. Glad I checked that one out. Probably my favorite in the last 5 years. It's not a Halloween movie, guys, but The Lighthouse. Dude, another one that I cannot recommend enough. The Lighthouse. The big selling point on this one for me was Willem Dafoe. I've watched that one a couple times since I got it. I think I bought it like last year, the year before that. I've watched it quite a few times. Bingo. Ty West is a great one. And, it's funny because I would have gotten, going through the stack, I would have eventually gotten to this one, like X and Pearl. Absolutely great. Two great films right there. Very much looking forward to Maxine. And that kind of fuels I guess you could say, a bit of an argument on they don't make little franchises anymore. I mean, first of all, we got Terrifier 3 coming out. And with Maxine coming out, the X trilogy, it's like, come on, guys. This one, though, Midsommar, this was an interesting one. Not sure. uh, Not sure how often I would want to rewatch this one, but it's an interesting one. I probably got to watch it a couple more times to fully understand how I feel about it. But if you enjoy stuff that takes place in the daylight, it's definitely one. Oh, Miss Carter, come on. No, I totally get that. It's definitely a movie that's not for everyone. And when I had Shan watch that one, I did have to give her okay, just so you know, we're going into this one. It is going to be slow. It is going to be in black and white. I know you don't really like those kind of stuff, like the black and white movies, but just stick with it. And it's one that's just absolutely batshit insane. But I mean, I like when movies get absolutely freaking weird and off the wall there. We got a nice little 5-pack here of stuff. Again, you see X once again. But Hereditary was one that I watched recently for the first time. That was like one of the most talked about movies of 2018, not called Halloween. And honestly, watching that one, I have no idea how I didn't have that scene spoiled. And if you've seen Hereditary, you know what scene I'm talking about. That was just a very unsettling movie. I think that was Ari Aster on that one. He went on to do the Midsommar there. But yeah, no, that one was absolutely unsettling. The Witch. This is where we're sort of getting into the elevated horror. Fucking ridiculous. It's just good stuff. But like the Witch was a lot of fun. Again, I don't know if fun's the right word. That was hella disturbing. Green Room. That one was like more of a thriller, but it had that sort of Assault on Precinct 13 vibe that really, I mean, Assault on Precinct 13 was a Carpenter film, so anything that sort of has that sort of vibe, I'm all on board for. But you know, honestly, probably one of the biggest modern surprises for me. Like I knew I was going to enjoy this one when I saw the previews for it. Violent Night, and this one's sort of in that weird gray area where, sure, you can call it a horror film on one hand, like, but I think it's more of like an action comedy. Like, because when I can't remember if it was when I went to see Saw X. I don't know. It wasn't Saw X. I think it was when I went to go see Halloween Ends. They played the preview for Violent Night there, and you know, you're going to see a horror movie and you see these previews, you're expecting it to be a preview for a horror movie. But this was definitely the big surprise of the modern ones there. Like I knew it was going to be fun, but it was a blast. It was had its pretty heartfelt moments there. You've got fucking oh, what's her nuts? Beverly D'Angelo in there. She's just absolutely vicious, fucking heartless little bitch in that film. And you got John Leguizamo, and it's just freaking hilarious. I mean, you got Santa Claus basically fighting a bunch of bandits. It's got this sort of, again, this Die Hard feel. Or, well, not Die Hard, fucking Precinct 13 has this sort of Die Hard meets Assault on Precinct 13 feel. Staring at my Die Hard VHS tape across the room there. But no, it definitely does mix elements of Die Hard and Precinct 13, though, with this sort of uh, over the top Santa Claus fights off these bandits sort of deal. It's just a lot of fun. And that's further proof that Die Hard is, in fact, a Christmas movie. More on that in December. It follows. I think this is another one people said was probably one of the best of the last 10 years. It was all right. It was pretty damn slow for me. I probably want to revisit it a couple more times to, because I'm thinking this one might have just went over my head a little bit. I didn't follow it, you could say. But I am curious to check out the sequel for that. They Follow. That's like the main reason I picked that one up. It's like, gotta check out It Follows before they follow me to theaters. Ha 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 ha. Snyder Man, what's going on, dude? You're late. It's all good though. Better late than never. Your soul has been saved by Carpenter and the rest. Here's one where it almost sort of passes that modern timeline there. Orphan. Still haven't seen it. Orphan's First Kill. The prequel made like 10 years later. Haven't seen that either. So those are two films that are high on the watch list, but I'd say they're pretty strong contenders for the modern conversation there. And then there's Megan. I haven't watched this one yet, but this is another one that looked like a lot of fun. And it's like, you know what? I need that one. I need that one too. But I don't know. Really, the whole thing about it, Orphan is solid. First Kill is okay too. Not bad watches. Hell yeah. That's it. But yeah, no, with the modernization though, and I guess the whole better late than never joke kind of comes back into play here, or maybe not. I guess it's best that I am getting to these newer films, even if it is like 5 years late, as opposed to 10 more years down the line, where you take something like Hostel. I saw that one. I tried to watch it, I think, when it came out, and I think that was around the time Saw 3 came out, and but that's sort of the thing. I really caught on with those after they had sort of run their course. The Saw movies were all hey, got to bring the good luck, Heather. Got to bring the good luck there. But sort of following along with a lot of these way after the fact, it feels like you're coming across a relic sometimes, if that makes sense. And I don't know, just getting to these films again while they're still pretty fresh is good because you know you're able to look at it in a way that's sort of relevant to what is going on in the whole realm of horror at the moment there. And shit. Yeah. Yeah, I forget where I was going with that one once again, but I don't know. It feels like, instead of waiting around for these films to be old and classics, catch them as they're still relatively fresh. Like, you don't want them to be spoiled goods, if that makes any sense there. And that's sort of how I feel about, um, damn it, haven't had enough coffee there, but, well, just getting to these films later, it takes away from the impact, I feel. And not to say that it completely removes the impact that these films have. Like, you've got the greats that you can go back to. Those are always going to be there. But I feel that these modern films, uh, they're just as important and will be seen as important later on. And we have really the joy of coming across those right now as they're coming out. And it's just, it's fucking fantastic, man. And for the longest time, I was hating like all this modern stuff, especially when the Saw films were coming out. I hadn't really seen any of them. Like, I saw parts of Saw 3, saw like 5 and 6 when they came out. But it was like, oh, it's not Friday the 13th, it's not Nightmare. I don't want it. And I'm looking back on it now, and it's like that was a ridiculous sort of mentality to have. And I figure, good films are good films. Whether they're old, new, haven't come out yet, you just got to appreciate cinema for what it is, really, at the end of the day. Uh, so, video games, you may remember video games were not really my thing. And they still kind of aren't. Like, I've got a few that I go to, but I like the idea of horror games, but it's not really not my forte of exploration. But I like the idea of them being independent. And I guess on the topic of independent, and if we are talking modernization, you guys know. Hold on, I'm chomping at the bit for some. Yeah, no, for real though. Like, I'm still championing the idea of a Scream Factory box set for A Nightmare on Elm Street this year. I don't think it's going to happen, but because I've been saying it for the last 4 years, I'm still going to be screaming that from the hilltops. Like, you know what? The Nightmare box set for Scream Factory, it's coming out. It's going to come out, and we're going to like it. But that's it. It better happen this year. If it doesn't happen this year, probably wouldn't count on it after that. That's exactly it. They'll probably pull some weird shit and do it on like the anniversary of Nightmare 3. Not that there's anything wrong with Nightmare 3, but it's like you missed your golden opportunity there. And it's like I think the Halloween box set, that was like 2014, 2015. It was before the 40th anniversary, if I remember correctly. And the Friday box set came out on the 40th anniversary. It only makes sense. Anyway, back to the whole thing of modernization. While we are on that topic, we're going to play with the templates here just a little bit. Oh, what's going on here? That's a background for another thing. You guys know, and yet you've all seen the Invasion at 406 teaser, but there's something else going on. You kind of see it in the background there, I'm sure. I talked about it a little bit the other night. Well, let's get that going real quick, because I've got this idea getting into the modern. We're going into the future here. I'm trying to throw my hat into the conversation there, or throw my name into the hat, however the expression goes there. Awesome. So there's that coming out. Let's see. Yes, happy early birthday. Yeah. See, words are hard this early in the morning, and it's not all that early. But happy early birthday to your boy Heather Roman. Happy birthday, dude. Dog scream is very relatable. We have an annoying dog that. Yeah. See, that's one part of what actually sort of kicked off that idea. When you look at that, when you see that shot of the fence, the original footage there actually does have my neighbor's dog barking, but it wasn't a very cinematic bark. Like I played the footage back and it didn't feel quite right. So I did put some audio of a angry dog barking, just kind of splice that in there. But sort of that idea kickstarted that, and the whole David Berkowitz, the son of Sam killer, he actually had it in one of the notes that he wrote. I believe it was to the police. I still haven't double checked on this, but he said something in one of his notes about how this dog is telling me to do this, telling me to do that, and I just took that little tidbit of information. I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a pretty cool jumping off point for a warped psychological story. So Dog Screams is an upcoming short that I have in mind. I want to try and have that out by spring. Latest case scenario, probably summer. But spring, summer, what the hell's the difference, right? But that's the one coming out. All right, real quick. A doggy sat over the summer, and I had the not so smart idea to watch Cujo. Never again. Surround sound barking. I thought he was going. Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. That sounds like too much for me to deal with. I don't think I'd be able to handle that. Yes. You know, I told you. I kind of ran you through the voodoo map there. They're not the same team they were 4 years ago, but neither are the Chiefs. So we're going to see how this one goes tonight. It's going to be killer. But, I mean, the Halloween 3, right? Look at them. They're faithful to the Bay over here, man. They know what they're doing. They know what's up. We'll see what happens there, though. It's going to be a good game for sure. But, yeah, no, those two teasers, though, are for ideas that I have upcoming films. One, you guys know by now that the Invasion at 406 is intended to be a feature length, whereas Dog Screams again is going to be a short. And there is a second channel for those, just where you will be able to find those at. And that's where, again, I'm going to try and keep all the film projects at. And again, I like how that ties into this whole theme of modernization. If I'm throwing my name into the hat of being in somebody's conversation, maybe, of being a modern filmmaker, that's what I got to do, you know? And again, it's just a matter of, it was time to get off my ass about it and start getting it done. So you guys definitely should go and check that out. I don't think I have the link for it in the description yet, but definitely go check it out. Get some support there. That would definitely be much appreciated. Oh, there you go. Our cat jumped up on the bed. It's a little old. It's not the best jumper. But, yeah, no, that's basically what's going on there. No, I'm over here, goofball. This fucking cat. But, yeah, no, the upcoming films, I'm really looking forward to those. It's going to be a blasty blast. Scripts are in the works, so it feels good to be getting that going. And, you know, I think now it's funny because I've always been sort of a procrastinator. Hush. I figure that justifies my procrastination just a little bit. It's like juggling like 4 different projects now, and I still have a stupid 9 to 5. So, you know, it'll pay dividends, I guess. But anyway, guys, this cat probably wants some food, so I'm gonna go feed him, take care of him real quick. You guys have a good one. Thank y'all for stopping by on this holiest and most savage of Sundays, where we honor all things horror, darkness, mystery, the unknown. You guys know the whole drill there. I've been your Reverend Uncle Filthy. You guys know what to do.
Dog will hunt! Get that bitch, Leatherface! Get that bitch! Dog will hunt!